So when we asked Annie, Kentor, and myself to sing a song tonight to introduce the guest speakers, we're thinking which kind of song to pick. So the song Annie just sang is in Arabic about a mother. So why this song? Because I know the Abraham Accord, which brought peace and will bring more peace, will create a lot of tourism between one country and the other. People will get richer because there will be more business. But we care that maybe one day Arab mothers and Jewish mothers will stop bearing their children. And this is the message we want to convey. This is what peace brings. Peace brings that family can dream with the future of not going to war and not being killed for money, for oil, for land. And that's why the last Shabbat of the year is dedicated to that message and to those people who dedicate their lives to bring peace. So enough with me. Let me introduce those who will share the next couple of minutes with us on the Bima. We are honored to receive the Sharaka group. And first, let me introduce a personal friend and a person who is instrumental in everything you see the Israel consulate does in this part of the world, Ariel Roman, the Director of Cultural Affairs in our consulate.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom. I feel at home. The Israeli consulate does many activities here. There's a reason. It's a strong, vibrant community, great leadership. So thank you all for welcoming us. As Rabbi was saying, we're finishing up the year. What a better message than prosperity, peace, unity. So the Sharaka group that you see here, we have 5 members. One of them just arrived from Dubai, the executive director, Dan Pfefferman. They've been here since Monday, and they have been nonstop meeting with quite a variety of communities, Muslim, Christian, Jewish. Can you hear me? You can hear me better now? Sorry about that. I won't repeat though. So they've been meeting a variety of people, whether it's on campuses, Jewish students, Hillel, students from psychology or international relations. They've met boards from the International Trade Consortium, Global Affairs Council, and so on and so forth. So they've been bringing this message to people who are not aware of it. Maybe within the Jewish community or Muslim community, they know about this a little bit, but there's nothing like listening to them, hearing them, the emotion, how genuine they are, because they really feel it. They've dedicated their lives to this. They'll all go into the details. They're independent. They're not speaking on behalf of any government. I'm just helping them with their itinerary. But you'll be amazed, just like everybody who has listened to them has been so far. And they will continue. They started in Miami, Broward, Palm Beach. They'll be in Orlando and also in Gainesville. I also wanted to mention a very special guest that came from Boca, Rose Sager, who is Jewish Bahraini, and she's the trade representative of the Kingdom of Bahrain. So without further ado, thank you again for welcoming us, and I know they're going to have a beautiful discussion now. So if you can, I guess, Rabbi, you want me to bring them? Or? So the Rabbi will do the rest. Thank you again. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, well, I'll do it. Please, Dan, can you join us? Mickey, Dr. Ahmed, Yusuf, and Fatima. They will actually introduce themselves. They can express it much better than I can. Shana Tova.
Got it? You can hear me now? Amazing. Okay, hello everyone. Ariel, thank you for the beautiful introduction. I just want to add, he's done much more than just our itinerary. He has been our rock and our comfort zone and our everything while we've been in Miami. So thank you to Ariel and the Israeli consulate. Thank you to rabbis, wherever they just went, hello, and to the congregation for welcoming us into your beautiful Beit Knesset, your beautiful synagogue. My name is Michaela Dubry. I'm the development director for Sharaka, and I am one of the Israeli panelists this week. As you can hear, I'm obviously American as well. I was born and raised in Irvine, California, in a beautiful Jewish community as well. Very different to this one, but I'm so pleased to be here. And I'm just very excited to let us introduce ourselves and share more about our work, our organization, and each of our unique stories in Sharaka. So I'll pass the torch, and then we'll come back to me to talk more about the organization.
Hello, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. I'm so happy to be here with you today. My name is Fatima. I'm from Bahrain, and my father's family comes from Saudi Arabia also. I'm a novelist. I wrote 5 fiction novels about women's life in the Gulf area in Bahrain and discuss issues that matters to me like mental health. I'm an athletics champion. I still hold the record in long and triple jump in the Gulf region. And I just started my PhD in management and leadership. And I'm also Sharaka's Gulf Affairs Director.
Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. I'm Ahmed Kuzai as well from Bahrain. I'm really delighted to be here tonight. I am a husband and a father, a professor of international relations, a political consultant, and recently an advocate for peace with Sharaka. I'm the political affairs director with Sharaka. I'm really happy to be here amongst you.
Shalom Aleichem and Shabbat Shalom. I'm Youssef El-Azari. I'm from Morocco, from Marrakesh exactly. I was very pleased and honored to hear not an Arabic music, that's a Moroccan song. And I was very surprised to hear it and to sing it with you, because I was singing when I didn't know the meaning. But at least one of those songs kind of touched me, and I know its meaning. So I am the Moroccan director of Sharaka. I have a marketing and business background back in Morocco. As you know, Morocco has a huge heritage and a huge relationship with the Jews. We are the only Arab country that has the biggest Jewish community. I grew up with the Jews myself. One of my godfathers is the rabbi of Marrakesh. And also, Morocco is the only country that has it in its own constitution, Islam and Judaism as official religion. Besides that, I am very happy also because I want to share a message of peace. It's very frustrating and sad to see that the two religions that are very close to each other hate each other right now. This afternoon I was praying in a mosque, Masjid al-Ansar, and today, the same day, I'm with you here in Shabbat. So we have one religious day that we share together. We have many things that we share together. My mother, when I was studying in Delaware, she always told me, if you get lost and you don't find any Muslim family, at least go to a Jewish family. The food is halal at least, and I will be very glad if you spend the day with a Jewish family. So it's very frustrating, very sad that we hate each other because of the propaganda, trying to polarize the public opinion that this is wrong, this man is bad, this man is good, this is a hero, this is an enemy. But I think my generation is a little bit eclectic about this topic. They know what's right and they know what's wrong. And that I hope that in this complex world, full of secular people, full of non-believers, at least I hope that the two best friends will get along again, the Muslims and the Jews, because we share so many things together. That's it.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'll speak without a microphone. Wonderful to be here. I literally landed a few hours ago from... I'll speak up. I don't need the microphone. I literally got off a plane from Dubai to here just a few hours ago. I live on national security affairs and Middle East affairs. And then I became a Jewish world scholar. And my second book now is coming out on the American Jewish community. And this is my third career and my third life. I had a calling to try to do something maybe ambitious, and that is take these new governmental agreements called the Abraham Accords and make them real and deep and felt by people on the ground. And we started 2.5, almost 3 years ago with some young Israelis and Emiratis and Bahrainis. And soon after, when Morocco joined, we brought Morocco on board. And that's who we are. We're a grassroots, nonprofit organization that's working to make the peace real, to make it felt, to make it understandable, to peel back 7 decades of ignorance and conflict and vilification, and then to bring this message around the world to build as much of a community of Jews, of Muslims. We were in a mosque earlier today, of Christians, of anybody who has the wrong impressions about the Middle East, or the wrong idea about Israel in the Middle East, or about the Arab states in the Middle East, about what the Abraham Accords are and the potential that they've unlocked. And that's what my friends will share their stories here today. So thank you again, and Shabbat Shalom.
I'm back? Okay. Thank you, Dan. Dan is our executive director at Sharaka, and like he said, he just got off the plane from Dubai a few hours ago, and that is just a small example of the type of work we do. Dan was asked by the Detroit Jewish Federation and a group of leaders to go and accompany them and be the scholar in residence on the ground for their experience in the UAE. As Dan mentioned, Sharaka is a nonprofit based in the Abrahamic countries. Right now we're based in Israel, the UAE, Bahrain, and Morocco. And I'm going to take us back a few decades to the peace treaties signed by Israel with Jordan and Israel with Egypt. This happened in the 70s and in the 90s. And it's nice that Israelis can go to Jordan and to travel to Petra and Sinai, but what's come from that? What's come from these peace agreements? We see that there is still a lot of anti-Semitism in Jordan and in Egypt, and there's also on the Israeli side a lot of misunderstanding and vice versa in Israel against Jordanians and Egyptians. And why is this? Because it stayed at the government level. When governments sign peace treaties, what does that mean to all of us, right? Unless I don't know something, not all of us work for the government. So with this opportunity, with the Abraham Accords being signed in September of 2020, Sharaka and the young leaders that founded this organization saw this as an opportunity to go the step further. Instead of looking at the peace treaties signed as just treaties, they thought this is the foundation for us to take the step further and to bring it from the government down to the actual people that the peace treaty can affect. And that's what we do at Sharaka. Through different delegations in the Arab world, in Israel, in America, like you see here, we've been traveling all around Miami and South Florida for the last 5 days, and we're going to continue on for another 5 days. And we do this about once a month, I would say, once every other month. We're in the States affecting different communities and sharing our stories and sharing our work, hoping that the gap can be closed from the US and what's actually going on in the Middle East. I'd like us each to share about how we got involved. In Sharaka, I think it's very unique. I'll briefly share my experience. I was born and raised in Irvine, California. I am the daughter of South African immigrants, and I was raised in a very small immigrant community. I met an American when I was 6, and I was born in America. So if that tells you the tight, close-knit community, that's a good anecdote for it. When I was in university in California at Cal Poly SLO, I was studying broadcast journalism, and I immediately fell in love with Israel advocacy on campus, which is, in Florida, it seems like everything is kind of calm, which we were very pleasantly surprised about. But in California, it's not like that. There's a lot of anti-Semitism on campus. There's a lot of hatred towards Israel and towards Jewish students. There's a lot of ignorance and misunderstanding, and I experienced this in college. And I found myself fighting for Israel to just stay a part of the sentence. And this baffled me. I had an opportunity during my undergraduate degree to go to Israel and to work for I-24 News, which is a TV channel in Israel that reports in English, French, and Arabic. And while I was there, I became producer of a mini-series called Dubai News. This was the first TV show created post-Abraham Accord signing. That was an initiative by the UAE Ministry of Tourism with Israel to create a flow of traffic and to create the comfortability for Emiratis and Israelis to get to know each other through my mini-series. I produced 28 episodes, which means I did 28 interviews, which means having to understand 28 different parts of Emirati society, whether that be politics, religious figures, culture, art, high tech, anything that you can think of, I interviewed them. And one of my interviews was with a woman named Alanud Al-Hashmi, who's from Dubai. And she was talking to me during the interview about the company she was a founding member of, which was Sharaka. And Alanud showed me videos of a Lag BaOmer celebration that took place in Dubai. And in this video, I saw Emirati Muslim people dressed in their traditional clothing and Orthodox Jews in Dubai dancing together celebrating Lag BaOmer. And I thought this is very strange because I came from this polarized campus where the word Israel wasn't even acceptable on campus all of a sudden. And now I'm seeing actual Israelis and actual Israeli Arabs and Jews dancing with Emiratis from the UAE, celebrating Lag BaOmer nonetheless. What's going on? What is this gap? And what is going to happen to be able to close the gap? There's something being lost in translation from what's going on through the Abraham Accords and what's going on campus here. I made Aliyah a little bit after I had this job, and a few jobs later, I'm now the development director for Sharaka, and that's how I got involved with the company. I feel very lucky to be sitting here with my incredible colleagues, and I think you'll be very touched by their stories and how they got involved as well. So I'm going to pass the torch.
Thank you. So my story started right after the Abraham Accord signing. It was in September 2020, exactly 3 years ago. A month later, it was still COVID time. No one could travel out and in the country, but especially Israel had really strict laws into people getting out and in the country. One of my friends called me right after the signing by 1 month, and she told me the most random question you can imagine. Fatima, do you want to go to Israel? I was like, yes. That was the easiest yes for me, but my mom and my dad was afraid because of the image they have about Israel that they've always saw through the news and the media and the community. But I was so curious. I said yes out of curiosity. I wanted to see it by my own eyes. I wanted to see the reality. I wanted to see the unknown about Israel. So we traveled to Israel. It was still because of COVID time. There were no embassies yet, no visas. We had to go through Dubai, which was 7 hours transit time in Dubai. The whole flight took 10 hours. And today, from Bahrain to Tel Aviv, it's just 2 hours and a half flying through the Saudi airspace. We took the 10 hours flight. We arrived in Tel Aviv. I don't know what to think. We went directly to Tel Aviv streets. I was wearing my traditional clothing, my headscarf, the hijab, and the abaya, the black dress. So it's easy to notice where I'm from. The moment we walked down the street, a Jewish family stopped us and they told us, I have a question. Are you from Bahrain or Dubai? They immediately knew because of all the news happening because of the Abraham Accord. And we answered, I'm from Bahrain, I'm from Dubai. And they told us, welcome, we've been waiting for you for a long time, which means having peace with Arabs, with our neighbors, with Israeli neighbors. That touched my heart. I didn't expect that I would be received with so much love. I was a celebrity for a moment. My pictures were all over the news, all over social media, complete strangers stopping me in the streets, taking pictures with me. I received so much love. As Yusuf always loved to say, this is the people they were supposed to hate us. And as a Muslim, I'm supposed to hate them. That's what we thought. But I've never received as much as this love in Tel Aviv and Israel. I was invited by complete strangers to Shabbat dinners, to parties, to everything. They don't know me. I'm an Arab. I should be a threat to them. But everyone received me with love. And but at the same moment, I have a couple of thousand followers on social media. I shared my trip. I just wanted people to know back home about the reality of Israel. It's not the same thing that you see through the news. I met with Israeli Jewish people, Israeli Druze, Israeli Arabs, all different components of the community. We went to different villages. I went to pray in Al-Aqsa. I went to the Western Wall, to the Golan Heights, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, all places. So I took an idea about the community and the people. So I shared my experience through social media. The moment I shared it, I received a lot of pushback, backlash. People started telling me, I'm not a Muslim. I should take this off. You're not one of us anymore. You're not an Arab. I hope you die. I hope your airplane crashes. You're a traitor for just visiting Israel. So even my sister, which was back home, she didn't travel with me. She received a lot of hate and bad words. That position only made me stronger. It was bad at the beginning, and it made me sad, but it made me stronger. It's made me realize that I found my message, that I really want to advocate for peace. I want people to know the reality. I want to bring people together, Jewish, Muslim, and Christians. I started working with Sharaka full-time, advocating for peace and building bridges. Since then, since that trip, this trip changed my whole life.
Thank you, Fatima. Now, coming from the only country in the Gulf that hosts an indigenous Jewish community, I thought I would know all about Israel, but that's one country. You can't just read about it and understand everything about it. Similar to Fatima, I was invited by Dan to visit Israel right after the Accords. I was shocked. It's not what I thought I'd see. It's not what we were taught back in school. It's not what I ever thought I'll experience in my life. Part of what we were told, it's an apartheid state. So leaving the airport, just looking at the signs on the street, they are all trilingual. It's in Hebrew, Arabic, and then English. Why would you recognize a language of people if you are hating them, if you don't consider them as part of your community? That was eye-opening, that was awakening. 2 weeks later, touring all over Israel, meeting all sorts of communities, people, groups, that changed my mind. Now, prior to that trip, I was planning to run for public office back home. But in order for me to run for office, I should keep this trip a secret, which is something I didn't want to do. Now, after coming back, thinking about the whole thing, I changed my mind. I didn't want to run for office. I wanted to work for a higher purpose, something that will have a bigger impact on myself, my family, my boys, and the world as well. So I called Dan, telling him that I'm joining you. Figure out a way. I am joining. Why? Changing people's lives is not something that is small. It's something that will outlast me. We're talking about bigger programs that we're conducting. First of all, Sharaka, it's an Arabic word that means partnership. Partnership between brothers here, brothers and sisters. We conduct lots of programs year-long. Recently, we launched the Holocaust and Tolerance program that introduces Arabs and Muslims to what the Holocaust was, how it happened. We take them to Auschwitz, and from Auschwitz, we take them to Yad Vashem in Jerusalem. They tour the country just like I did in order for us to change the narrative of the Middle East. I'm not sure if you've heard about countries like Bahrain, like Emirates, like Saudi Arabia, who changed their textbooks today to include all of that. But can you imagine having textbooks that are great, but will be taught by people who are still anti-Semitic. What change can we do there? We're trying to help in changing the narrative by taking educators on those trips in order for them to understand firsthand, come back home and really teach kids on how reality is, history, and just eliminate hate from our agendas. Other programs, just last week we were in Jerusalem. We hosted a delegation of American imams who came to Israel to understand how Muslims are treated. It's not what they see on the media, it's not what they witness on the news. They saw it with their own hands, how imams are being treated in Israel. How are they organized? How are they paid? Where do they live? Their conditions. And they were amazed, and I was, as a Muslim, mesmerized as well. Other programs are in the loop. We're developing programs as we go. We work with many people. We work under our government supervision. We are trying to change our future. And that's something we all hope for.
So basically, you are gonna ask yourselves, like, what makes us a little different than other organizations, in a sense that there was a lot of civil society initiatives that tried somehow to kind of sustain an initiative of peace between the Arab world and Israel. The only difference here is that we are right now Arabs and the Muslims standing with Israel, and it's very logical for us. Like when you go right now to Israel and you see that somehow more than 20% of its populations are Arabs and they live together with the Jews. You see that they have their own civil rights, they have good health, good system care, like a health care system, they have good education and all that. And on the other side, you see that there's a lot of innocent Palestinians, some victims of their own system, their own terrorist system that trying to kind of censor them to speak up. And even if you ask them, and I'm sure about that they would love to go to Israel to at least to educate their own children in Israel schools. So for me, I stand with Israel here as a Muslim Arab, as a Moroccan. It's because I want at least those people to have a glimmer of hope that if Israel is opening up, then my fight is about radicalism. My fight is really against radicalism, that I want people to make sure that they need to speak up about their own terror. They need to speak up about the things that matters to them, which is like to fight the people that they are restraining them from their own freedom. Back in Morocco, and I am very happy to share this with you, the King Mohammed V, back in the 40s, when he was asked about by Vichy, like to speak up about the Jews that they were living in Morocco, he wrote a letter, and he said there is no Jews. And then Vichy reported that to Hitler, that the King Mohammed V said that there is no Jews in Morocco. And this is somehow one of those initiatives how King Mohammed V protected the Jews back in Morocco. Like after 75 years, the Jews never forget that. And they were always helping us Moroccans as Israelis about our Moroccan sovereignty or the Moroccan Sahara. And they always kept their promise to protect us. And right now, after the Abraham Accord, we had right now two allies, Americans and Israel, to kind of play iron fist against any threats, whether from Algeria, from Spain and France. So I know when a Jew gives you a promise, he kept it. And of course, that's right now my right and my privilege to speak up about this and to say that me as a Muslim, I feel as a Moroccan especially, I feel very, I know it in French, redevable, like I owe you something, like you owe me, how can you say that? I felt indebted, yeah, I felt indebted to the Jews that they always protected my country. And it's my payback right now to tell the truth to you, as Jews living here in America, but also to my own Muslims back in Morocco, that the peace starts with a dialogue, with love, and with peace initiatives like that. If there is any problem, we eat a meal and we have a Shabbat dinner about it. So that's it.
That's a little bit about us, our unique stories, and how we got to Sharaka. I would love to hand it back over so you can all proceed with your Shabbat service. If you're interested in getting involved with our work, please reach out. If you're interested in just supporting, learning more, keeping up to date, our website is sharakango.com, and I think it's on some of the flyers that were in the Sidurim. If not, I will ask your rabbi and community leaders to send it out in an email to you guys so you can keep in touch. But we're always open ears and open arms to people that want to get involved. So thank you for welcoming us into your community, and we hope to visit you guys again soon. So thank you for letting us share.